impeccably.
And ban all the right champions.
Yes.
Speaking of which, we are into the draft here for the first game of this best of 5.
The reality is, I think KT has had, even considering the ending, an incredible year. But JDG is better than any team that they've had to go up for this far, up until this year, up until this point. And we'll see what they have here on red side in game number 1.
Yeah, and it seems like KT thinks the ruler is better than anything on JDG right now. Xayah gone, Kalista gone. They really want to make sure that they're putting the herd on this bottom side of the map. They leave things like the Maokai still up and available though, if they want to try and let that through. Orianna, and also another big one for Knight in that mid lane. Although he has only played it once here at the World Championship, Knight is such a strong mid laner. I'm curious to see if they will let that one through.
Well, they're not going to let the Jarvan through. That is the first bit of homework that they have done. Very happy to see J4 removed, especially after yesterday, but we won't dwell on that for too much longer. First pick available. I think the Metal Ballerina sounds like a good idea. Orianna going to be locked in. And now KT to answer back. You know, Jace Maokai is something that is available.
I do really appreciate the Nico ban. I think that one of the big things that consistently teams have been able to do is punish Orianna in lane, right? And we saw yesterday, Yagao was a really good example of even if you get set behind the lane, it doesn't always end up mattering. What is really interesting is that KT is continuing the prioritization of the Aphelios. Now, I do think that playing without Rumble and Jarvan being there, it's already a lot better, but it is still something that we saw backfire yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, this is also one of the things that JDG have been willing to go for, which is Zeri Lulu. I could be missing just going back towards that. It's something that was a big pick at MSI, but now starting to at least rear its head with JDG at the World Championship. I'm curious if they will just take the Maokai go though and get, hey, look, we want that strong jungler here for Maokai or for Kanavi, or are they more willing to let the Maokai slip through, go back towards something like the Wukong, which is something that has been a big pick for Kanavi, one of the few junglers that's actually still playing it, or even just go for the Vi as well.
Well, it is going to be the Rakan locked away here for the Rakan. Zeri, something that we've seen many, many times. Of course, Zeri pretty happy to hyper carry in a late game. Command Protect going to be there. And of course, the peel that you have available as the Rakan. Certainly fitting into a JDG-style team composition. Now, KT gonna round this one out. They can look for some sort of pseudo counterpick into the Orianna if they would like to, or get a strong top laner. And Jack Sejuani, that's a gauntlet to be thrown.
And it is a really strong top side. I think something that has to be mentioned is that Keen this tournament has not been able to hit his regular season form, right? And I do think that with the Jax, especially when you have something like the Sejuani that really enables you to play very aggressively in the early game, we'll have to see what they're going to end up playing, because we don't know what the topside 2v2 is going to be, because those two picks still not taken for JDG.
And that's the thing, you can still go for something like the Cassante. I mean, yes, you do get beaten by the Jax in the late stage, but you're happy to have that tank. We've even seen teams trying to contest in the early stages, go for something like the Renekton Aatrox and play for first Rift Herald and try and beat Jax to the punch when it comes to his scaling, but we'll have to see what the answer is at the moment, KT trying to focus down that jungle. I imagine it'll be a Maokai ban to follow here.
And something that KT, I think, have looked the best at out of any team in the LCK is the way that they play around side lanes. 1-3-1 or 1-4 is something that they were really good at domestically. And
they were the only team that could do it, basically, in the LCK successfully.
And it relies on two things. One, what is BDD going to play here? Because if it's something like a Taliyah, or even though we haven't seen it, things like his Twisted Fate, something that allows him to have big ability to access the rest of the map. But I don't think those champions are necessarily that strong right now. We did see that that was what LNG tried to do as well, and that's why I love this Taliyah ban, because that's exactly what I was looking towards.
Yeah, the Taliyah is going to be banned away. They're looking at a LeBlanc. I was expecting Lehens to actually grab a champion here and then look for the counter pick for BDD. That is what the consideration is looking like right now, although, you know, these are just flashing some Lehens champions because the Sylas angle is amazing.
I was about to say, I'd much rather see them go for something for BDD here and like try and find something then that you can kind of look at what the rest of the composition from JDG is going to be before you lock in the support. But I think at the moment, Lulu is a great answer. Scales well with the Aphelios, has the opportunity to polymorph the Rakan every time he goes in. You got the push there in that lane. And as we saw from their quarterfinals thus far, bot lane priority has become a bigger and bigger factor as we've gone deeper into the tournament. And this Aphelios Lulu gives you the opportunity to play for that.
And there's basically two choices here for 369, right? It's Renekton or Cassante. Cassante would allow you to have a more reliable front line, but Renekton, especially depending on what will be picked up here for Kanavi, is going to have a much bigger impact and allows you to actually push back towards that top side 2v2. We'll see what Kanavi obviously has a complete champion ocean, so a million things that he can go for. We'll see what he actually ends up locking in, but I do think that trying to contest KT towards that top side is a good idea, and this is something that Rel-Rakan combination going to allow JDG to play the style that they love.
I think as well, you didn't really have a huge amount of options there for Kanavi. Like, if you go towards the Lee Sin, not the best lane setup. Yes, Renekton, but it's against the Jax who has the counter-strike. You're going to be losing out in the 2v2 bot lane, so you don't really have things to look for the invade with, like the likes of a Bel'Veth. So I do like the idea of, hey, I'm going to take a step back and try and play the engage, but that's a pick and a half.
It is. That's going to be BDD on the Akali. Not necessarily one of our more notable Akali players, but we've got an infinite amount in the LCK that just really love this champion. BDD, more of those control mages just in general. But when they do manage to find these 1-3-1s, BDD is a player that can play around these champions exceptionally well. I thought that the Sylas angle was looking good. I feel like that helped block away the potential Maokai pickup. And then going for this now, to have all of that permafrost synergy, actually a really cool idea here from KT Rolston.
And it is actually KT going for a more 1-3-1 style, which I do think is the right approach. Trying to just match JDG head-on in a team fighting is something that literally no team in the world has been able to win against them with. And in this way, you're going to try and play more through the silent pressure, try and get Keen and BDD ahead with that Sejuani.
But that's the thing, I mean, trying to play for a skirmish on the top side against Renekton, against the Rel Orianna, is going to be incredibly difficult. So I am curious to see how they're going to try and play this out, especially because, like, the bread and butter of JDG has been playing through a strong mid-jungle. When you've got the opportunity to get the push with the Orianna and then lean into potential invades, that could be an issue that you're going to struggle with here, and I want to see what KT are going to do to make sure Cuz has an okay jungle clear.
Yeah, it feels like, in theory, this could work against the JDG style of play. We've seen this attempted, even at this tournament, and it has not been enough to actually get over the line when push comes to shove. They're just too good at it, and I think, like you were illustrating, it's mid-jungle, it's even top jungle as well, which is going to be very important in this game, given the early game reputation of a Renekton. But here we are, ladies and gentlemen, onto the Rift for Game 1 of our third quarterfinal here at Worlds 2023. We're in Busan. The weather was a little bit rainy this morning. However, see what is actually going to come to pass here on this map. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, you can connect your League of Legends account with Prime Gaming to grab the exclusive Braum W emote, the best emote created almost in the history of League of Legends.
It does feel like getting to cast this series with you lads is also a big W, though, because for JDG, it's a case of, right, we're going to see another block on the road towards that golden road, which has been, I think, what a lot of people are expecting from JDG, especially after yesterday losing their biggest answer, or biggest rival in that, which is Gen G. But on the opposite side, if not, like, KT taking down the behemoth that is JDG, getting into, well, quarterfinals, the first quarterfinals since 2018, potentially pushing even further than that for the first time in the organization's history. This is such a sick series with so much riding for both sides.
And what would a golden road be without it being paved with his former mid laner in BDD and his former bottom lane teammate in Lehens? I mean, for Ruler, I think that this is a very important one. The rest of JDG, it's just another matchup. And then there's a couple more to go before they finally can potentially claim that title. See how it does go, is Keen already using some counter-strikes, getting some shots down here on this top side. Of course, the Jax matchup level 1, pretty good into Renekton.
Yeah, you're really looking to try and abuse the fact that the first, like, 3-4 levels, you actually do have a lead into the Renekton. Try and get control of the wave early, shove them in, get a early recall, because you're going to need every advantage that you can get. Because as soon as you get to, like, the later stages, you know, level 5, 6, it's a lot harder as Ruler.
They're going in. They've already got the flash from aiming here, and JDG say that is going to be enough, and you can understand it completely.
Yeah, but look at where Kanavi is at the moment. He's completely cleared out his bot side and wants to go for invade onto this bottom half of the map. So may not be a dive that they're completely looking for, although Knight is hovering towards bot side to try and support that. It may just be a split map that we're working with, which for aiming is an absolute disaster.
It certainly is. It is something that aiming is very used to, though, here on KT. Doesn't get a lot of help as Keen going very aggressive onto 369. Definitely, you can hear here in Busan, the fans starting to raise their voices a little bit, but a lot of KT fans here, so still very reserved.
We'll see. I don't think there is a window here because Cuz instead is, they seem to be aware that Kanavi's probably taking their bot side, so Cuz wants to just ensure that he can actually keep up and farm, clear the jungle, and as long as aiming and Lehens don't take too much damage in trading, they should be all right, even with the flash being down. Especially because Lahens still has his heal available.
I will say, though, something that we saw a lot was like these potential dives coming through from the likes of MSI. But I think when you've got the Lulu there, it's like, hey, you've got a Rakan who, the second he goes in, gets polymorphs, regrets his life choices, and then one of them on JDG is probably going to die. So I think at the moment, you're just happy to have the split map and let Missing and Ruler actually crash this wave successfully, rather than it being stalled out for Aiming and Lahens as you look at Cuz going for this reset towards the bot end of the map.
And you do actually see Keen able to get the early pressure. Both of them also going for double Dorans. So really putting a lot of importance on maintaining early combat power and priority here. And right from the get-go, looks like a lot of pressure is being put here as Missing. As long as you keep hitting those feathers, you're going to be feeling amazing as the JDG bot lane.
Slane not going super well here for BDD, who's been under his turret and very low health for a very long time. Once again, trying to win out on these trades. But now that 369 is level 4, that's when the Renekton starts to feel a whole lot better. Because finally, moving down towards this bottom side, we'll see whether he can help out Aiming in the heads.
Yeah, it looks like he wants to try and get in here, but Kanavi is already in the area. Cuz wasn't quite spotted there, so we'll be just ships passing the night, but it gives the opportunity for Cuz to get in behind this bot lane, who thinks they're safe because their own jungler is in that region.
I think Ruler is thinking about trying to get an extendo beam onto Aiming here. KT not going to bite off more than they can chew. Happy just to scale things up by the looks. As Kanavi moves down towards his bottom side. BDD in trouble, though, as he goes into the Shroud. I think it might be time to go home.
I think, look, BDD will be fine. He'll reset. He'll get back. It'll be grand. Knight almost out of mana. Not going to get too much. I think the big explosion that we're going to see is going to be at this Rift Herald in about 3 minutes. When you look at like the top side of the map here for JDG, you want to try and play with this Renekton towards that Rift Herald. Try and beat the Jax at when he's got that power in the Renekton for 369. But honestly, Keen's been doing a great job of trading effectively. So I think at this stage, as long as JDG are able to play for that objective, get that, start to snowball, like bot lane, mid lane, that's how they want to try and open up this game.
We're also seeing that thus far, I think both junglers have been pretty well tracked. Seems like both teams are very aware, although this one might be a really good opportunity here. Keen not going to be ready for this. They're trying to set up the dive angle as well. 369, I don't know how close he is to 6. Dominus would be huge. Kanavi going to get spotted soon because he's on the other end of the wall.
He is on the grump right now. Looks like Kanavi's not really looking for it. 369 trying to bait him in, and it's going to work. The Dominus comes out. There's the crash down. And Cuz is going to turn up. He flashes forward. Can they get it? No, they can't. First blood picked up by JDG. Immediately answered, though, by KT. And now the junglers are battling it out. But I think two tanks probably just going to have to walk away.
The kill going across the 369 is massive, though. Getting that early lead for the Croc is going to help out. Gets the Iron Spike. Whip will be able to come back into lane. And at this stage, Kanavi just wants to try and freeze this wave for when 369 gets back, but you can see Cuz is not going to let him get there.
Getting the crash is big, means that Keen at least will be able to maintain the CS lead, but thanks to the kill going over to 369, it means that at the very least, that gold is going to get equalized. And really good timing there from Kanavi. He is just a second later, or Cuz is a second earlier. That could have been a disaster, right? You saw the moment that Cuz shows up, the ability to stack the permafrost very quickly can be quite big. And hence, a lot of aggression here.
Yeah,
you invested as well.
Actually quite like this from KT. You could see that they were getting a little bit bullied by the positioning of Ruler earlier on. We're going to have a look at this one once again as the cavalry arrives from both sides.
And you can see here 369 was playing for that level 6. The second he hits it, Kanavi's in lane, but doesn't actually have access to Q right until that moment to get it back up to get the heal. Cuz able to flash forward to finish it off. Really well executed by JDG. And KT, they thought they were safe because Cuz got into the jungle and didn't spot Kanavi there.
There's also something we haven't touched on yet, is the fact that 369 still has his flash available, will allow JDG to set up possible aggressive plays toward a Herald. And particularly, I think, against things like the Akali, having that available can be quite big. Do see KT going for the Dragon Air. We do know post-6, this lane becomes a whole less fun for the Orianna.
Certainly does. Let's see. Kanavi's just walking in. He'll steal that away because Shattering Strike is pretty broken in that moment, and KT could do nothing.
Yeah, can't outplay. Yeah, you need to make sure that he doesn't get there. The moment that Rel actually shows up, there's nothing you can do. Really well done by Kanavi, and KT just stand there and watch him do it.
And I was about to praise KT for, they invest the heal on that like last trade, so Lahens gets the early reset, they get back, they get into a position where they have to wave push, they can go for Dragon. And then it all comes to naught. Kanavi with the steal right in front of their noses. And now as well, we're just highlighting, hey, look, well, Kanavi hasn't invested anything, so he's going to get to clear up towards his top side. And now you've still got control up there for 369. Push is going to happen in mid, and you'll be able to look for Rift Herald. Cuz needs to find some way to disrupt JDG right now.
Aiming getting a bit frisky here towards his bottom side. You can see our observers were ready for him to go a little bit further forward. Decides to hold back just a little, and we like it. As LCK fans, when aiming holds back just a little. Let's not elaborate on that one too much. And here on the top side, Keen continuing to have a slight gold advantage, but like you were talking about, Chronicler, 369 stacking this wave right now. It could start meaning that turret plates could start going over. Things like this is Missing's going aggressive. Ruler dives in, but he will get slowed down by the Glitterlands, buying some space here by Lehens. Really nicely disengaged by KT. We'll back away.
And if that knockup from Missing hits, 100% is going to be a big problem. You have a fight for the Herald, though.
Yeah, I have a feeling I know who's favored as far as the smite, but let's see whether the fight does actually happen. BDD over the wall. Backflip landing as now Keen will turn up. Knight in a bit of trouble as there's the ult forward from BDD. He's into the shroud now. Can they actually get this one to work? Kanavi gets himself out. Perfect execution, shuts him down. And the Dominus is still going to be there. Keen is very low, and Knight is there to support the Crocodile. The flash forward. 369's gigantic. And BDD just has to get over that wall.
The big thing here as well, Missing joining the rest of the team. It's going to be a favorable kill trade for JDG. We'll see if KT can find a counterpunch on the other end. And it's that flash from 369 that ends up being a difference maker.
Yeah, and you called it out earlier, Chronicler. Having that there was going to be such a big move coming in towards that. I mean, we're still going to get another repeat, I feel like, at this Rift out in a couple of moments, but you could see how well KT were able to separate JDG as they went towards this one.
It's also do note, BDD picking up a kill was huge. On the Sakali in particular, able to really make use of how slippery the champion is. But the fact that Kanavi extends the blade I think is really big. It forces BDD to go over the wall, meaning they don't have the damage to actually deal with 369. You got Sunzapa Keen, he doesn't have the cooldowns, and these levels, right, like if you're somewhere between level 6 and 9, Renekton, he just wants to fight. He just wants to scrap because it's so hard to deal with.
It can now become an issue, though, for JDG on the opposite side. Like, KT, all their summoner spells, the flashes in particular, are back up now on your top side of the map. Because of the push you had on bot side, well, that opens up Lehens to move across. He is the heal. So, and that's where maybe 369's in trouble.
Yeah, he definitely doesn't have a flash. That is going to be the Winter's Wrath coming down. Permafrost doing some work there as Kanavi shows up. And they realize they're not going to be able to win this 2v2. Crashes over the wall. KT not going to be able to grab the kill, but they send a message.
A lot of restraint being shown there by KT, not wanting to overinvest. Missing is here, but so is Lehens, and with 369 being sent back and not completing his back yet, looks like the Herald is in fact gonna go over to KT. Round 1, unsuccessful. Round 2, they'll be able to pick it up.
Great read from KT on just saying, hey, yes, you have some of these champions that might be more you better utilized at these early Rift Herald fights, but you burnt everything. Now Kanavi trying to match for Cuz in this top side.
Yeah, Keen going aggressive once again. There's the Dominus, and Kanavi's going to turn up. Let's see how this fight is going to work. Great ult comes through from Cuz, and now Keen's trying to survive. It's not going to work out. Whoa! It doesn't work. We've seen this before in the last gank play, and once again, the tanks just walk away.
It's exactly the same play. 369 gets the kill, Keen goes down, and it's a 1-for-1.
I mean, it's a bit heartbreaking for Keen. The fact he's 0-3 off of what have been KT trying to execute some of these plays in the top side. And once again, we'll see the same again. Cuz at least will crash the wave, so then it won't happen. But Knight taking some damage from BDD.
Very nice. Does manage to land the backflip. Did have to invest the ult, though, because Knight had just teleported back. So BDD now able to get that health bar back up and running once again. Ruler going a little bit aggressive on his former teammate here. But he's just happily farming up these minions. Bit of a CS check. Culls have been completed. Aiming has sold his. We're going to also check out our featured matchup presented by Mercedes-Benz. It is, in fact, this bottom lane Aiming versus Ruler. Stats in favor of Aiming this tournament. We know what Ruler is capable of. And we just haven't got to games late enough for Ruler to really shine, I don't think. Dagda, that's kind of my opinion.
They also win in like one fight.
Yeah.
So like, how are you going to pump the numbers?
But that's the thing, right? Like, we've even seen it in this game where it's like JDG are focusing on their top side of the map. This is the way JDG play. It's played through 369, played through Knight, and on this one again, 369 just barely getting the heals that he needs. Kanavi just getting the interrupts in time to keep 369 up. And now you've got this Croc that is very far ahead of this Jax and going to be able to continue putting that pressure down. And you can look to leverage that now as JDG.
And that's even with Cuz like going for the double permafrost proc, right? Like really looking to get maximum damage there. And also with Keen flashing from Kanavi's crashdown. So really JDG able to play around this. Renekton might have a fight here towards the bottom half of the map. Aiming!
Yeah, there's the knock-up onto aiming. He's trying to get out, does use everything, but does manage to escape. Lands there to help out as Cuz getting down here as well. Moonlight Vigil, decent amount of damage, but he can't really get in there. Decent Arctic Assault, but now the knock-up comes through, and this Sejuani's in a bit of trouble. Teleport to come forward, though. The Glacial Prison connects, and now it's BDD's going on a rampage. Aiming grabs a kill onto Kanavi. Ruler's still up, though, still doing a fair bit of damage. And Knight has made his way down as well, but that's a one fight for KT unless Cuz gets out, he's fine.
I mean, great turnaround from KT, the immediate teleport from BDD, phenomenal answer, he picks up a kill for himself, and now Knight looking for more.
Oh, BDD, there's the flash over from Lehens. BDD doing a lot of damage, perfect execution comes through, Ruler is there, and Knight, he's got Command Protect, that will keep the Zeri alive, and that was a lot invested.
That is going to be Lehens trading his flash for Knights. I think that's a trade you'll take any time of the day, particularly with that Akali in a side lane. A lot of pressure coming out. KT, they want to pull out ahead.
It's also just a case of accelerating this Akali to a position where she can threaten these backlines. I mean, great ult coming through, but the follow-up from Lehens, making sure they keep aiming topped up. The Moonlight Vigil with the heal to make sure that Amy can then follow up. And Cuz getting on towards Ruler, and even though Kanavi tries to set up the follow-up engage, with that TP coming behind, and Kanavi moving with his metal pants, he's waddling his way as quickly as he can, but it's just not enough. And Knight doing a bit of window shopping by the time he gets down as well, and only ends up burning his flash later on to try and follow up on the play.
Do see that JDG was able to get first towards this Drake, and KT, they're not going to contest it, decide the better of it. This is the second Drake, not setting up any soul point as Keen TPs to our top side.
Yeah, sort of playing into that 1-3-1 style like you guys were illustrating earlier on. That being said, having control of Drakes is one of those prerequisites if you want to be able to play 1-3-1. Generally is, yeah, Rift Herald is just going to get executed, and that is no extra money. Not the greatest one you've ever thrown down there, Cuz it's all right. We'll see whether he can get the Rift Scuttler. There we go. There's at least that.
I think Keen needs to leave fairly quick because there's a lot of members of JDG up here. Although it looks like with Cuz kind of spotting out exactly where JDG is, they'll buy just enough time for first tower to go across.
Successful Herald gets them a turret.
I like your optimism.
It's actually really cool to see because for KT, whoa, that's a Mascot lane economy snapshot. I was going to say, KT, what? They've kind of answered.
There's the 2 in the mid lane.
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
2 what? Just 2?
Shouldn't there just be
2 of them?
Just 2. 2 of what then?
2 of them.
2 of golds?
Yeah.
Yes, 2 of golds.
Yeah. 2 of golds.
It's like
in
the 3
lane
of hearts.
Night.
It's like, if you're playing the cards or something like that. Yeah, it's all fine. But
and I do want to throw out a little bit of a warning here for KT fans that might be somewhat enthused by the current situation in the game. We don't count chickens, especially not against JDG. How often do they fall behind early, Dagda? Like,
yeah.
How often do they not pull the trigger until they can get these 5v5?
I will say, though, Knight might be in trouble here as BDD is there. But I want to highlight, like, I think KT have really prepped for JDG as...
Ooh,
yeah, good.
Escape.
Wait, Missing's still here.
Cannon, that's going to work out. Missing is here, though. And we'll see whether BDD can get out of that. He holds forward, dodges, gets out after the charm, and BDD's still alive. He's an actual ninja. It's happened.
What a play from BDD, styling on JDG in that bottom side, and fine enough time now. Cuz to get down to the bot lane to protect him, you've got push in mid. You're losing your top side camps here as Kanavi, as you can see with the Jax stealing away blue. KT are kind of running the game here.
Still got the cannon.
Yeah.
Kind of don't. Even Jonas Strong would be happy about that one. As Keen in the enemy jungle, I can see your face right now, Chronicler. He is not ready for this game to be a little bit KT favored. He's not ready. Can't handle it. He doesn't know how to analyze this whole situation. I'm going to have to commentate him because he's incapable of commentating.
I don't have as much
right now.
experience as you, okay? I'm not, this is not a familiar feeling for me. I do want to highlight that the investment of JDG towards the bot side actually ended up getting them the turret, ended up getting the flash. Or actually, turret is still standing. Sorry,
yeah.
That's on BDD. But outside of that, as you were saying, the immediate counterpunch from KT on the other end of the map gains them a small lead, but more importantly, gains them control of the tempo on top side, lets them take over the enemy jungle and set up for second Herald. Maybe this one will actually hit something.
It also buys them time to scale. Like, Jax wants to try and get towards 2 items. Thumbs up, he's in a great spot. Aiming having this Lulu in his pocket to try and help him, he's going to be in a great spot when he gets to 3 items. Like, KT have done a really good job of reading the way JDG played the map. So usually you see 369. If they're going to go, JDG are going for a play on bot lane, he'll cover the mid push. All right, cool. Keen walloping away in that top tower, gets the top tower. Like, KT have done their homework against JDG and are punishing them for what JDG traditionally do.
And it's also the way that KT dispatched of Gen G for the entirety of summer.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same type of style as the fog being toggled. Are they going to try and make a play?
Yeah, in goes Cuz. 369's pretty tanky, but Permafrost has stacked up. They get the teleport out, and KT say, no, not biting off more than that, and they will take the summoner spell.
Still a big win, particularly because the 103 aiming.
This is a bit of a problem. Aiming's going to flash, but they have their eyes set on Lehens, and Ruler will be able to take him down comfortably. It should be this turret falling as well, unless this teleport's going to work out. Cuz moving his way forward as well. Keen, Counter-Strike is being primed, and the Glacial Prison is going to land on a missing, but he's going to be able to battle dance his way away. He doesn't even have to here. The KT now bearing down on this outer turret mid.
Oh, they're going to try and get something out of this play because the teleport investment not really paying off just yet.
They do manage to get the turret here, but JDG, they form the Phalanx again. They should be able to defensively posture. They lose their turret, but they manage to take the other. Oh, they're very close to manage to take the other. They'll need to breathe on it a little bit later.
I mean, this is a good moment for KT, though. You get your reset, you're looking at Dragon in 30 seconds time. You've just injected a bunch of gold into 2 of your carries, so I think they're in a great spot. Also, 369 committed his TP to bot lane, so no TPs at all for JDG on the upcoming play, and KT have the tempo advantage.
They have a ward, so he walked, I think Knight walked over the ward in jungle. Gotta assume that BDD had an idea that he might be waiting there. We will see, though. I think Ocean, particularly for a 1-3-1 comp, can be really big, allowing you to stay in side lane for much longer. 369, that's not an easy target. Looks like KT don't want to go for it, but we might have another fight on our hands here. Yeah. JDG, they don't have control right now, but I think they're going to be looking to contest nonetheless. Maybe Kanavi can steal again.
Yeah, I was going to say, maybe they don't need control. Maybe they just need the horse to just wander away in there. As KT, 4 members here already set up. You can see BDD lurking in the sidelines. 369 goes in, aiming, trying to escape from the Crocodile. He'll get away, but Lens, he may not be so lucky. Knight in trouble as well, though, as he flashes away. BDD trying to get into the Moonlight Vigil, flies forward, and Amy's gonna lock down the first kill. Rule is dead as well as BDD. Perfect execution! And KT will tear JDG apart. Is this really happening?
And
It's only game 1, but still, they're managing to win team fights.
And KT are able to absorb the initial blow of JDG. 369 goes in on aiming, but it's the Lulu that I think is the big difference maker. That plus the immediate response from aiming on Nephelio specifically. If your engage doesn't work out and you're stuck trying to get to him, you will not win the fight.
And watch this. As the ult from Missing comes through, Amy, Cleanse, Gale Force immediately buys space. The Hen's then with the ultimate to keep him topped up and the speed up to back it on up. And Knight has now been caught because he's been separated from his front Ryan. Ruler's already gone over the wall and burned Cleanse, which means when Keen goes in, Ruler's burst. Aiming has an amazing Moonlight Vigil to set things up. And the AoE from this Aphelios in the close quarter combat fight works out beautifully in favor of KT.
An absolute game of inches in that team fight, though, because if Missing is actually able to get the quickness over, especially aiming, but the rest of KT as well, that could just be a wipe straight up, and the game could just be done. That's soul point for JDG and all the trimmings. But not going to be the case here. Still, 5,000 gold is the lead here for KT. JDG still a few team fights left in him before this Nexus of theirs is going to potentially fall.
And one of the biggest pieces of criticism that is often levied towards BDD are his builds. Inventor of triple lifeline when you were still allowed to build. He's got Death Gap second. He has one job, and that's to blow up whoever of Knight and Ruler is closest, right? The amount of roll damage that he's going to be able to output is
so he's wearing a hat,
insane.
a belt, and some shoes.
Yes.
He's a
Not
stylish
bad.
man right now.
Yeah, I'm really into that build. As Kane, he's finished off his cool green sword as well. And alongside the Divine Sunder, he's going to be doing a fair bit of damage as Missing. Moving forward, Ruler is going to be there, but of course, Cuz is pretty tanky as this bear.
I think the biggest thing this buys for you as KT is time on the map in side lanes. Like you can see at the moment, right? BDD with this stylish hat is now just pushing in completely on that top side. Keen also, I mean, he's got a sword on each hand, or at least a hammer in the other one, so he's going to be able to push in on bot.
I like this game.
It's really hard if you're a 369 to actually try and contest that. So at the moment, as long as KT are able to keep control over the 3v3 in mid, which they might actually catch JDG here, they should be okay.
Yeah, Missing able to get himself out with the grand exit. As Battle Dance as well, of course, you're pretty slippery as the Rakan. Kanabi throws a stab towards Cuz, and Cuz says, cool. Moves away, just clearing out vision. And of course, this is the homework that you have to do. When you're playing the 1-3-1, you need to be the team that has the vision around the Baron. Otherwise, very, very difficult to stop JDG from just taking that one. As Keen moving down towards this bottom side. And if this Jax wins in a side lane, that is part of your win condition complete. And so far, that is working out here for KT.
I think JDG are trying to essentially read where KT's next melee attack is. It looks like it might be on the top side, which is why JDG at the moment are just trying to see if they can clear out the vision in their own top side jungle and then shift it into river, separate the likes of BDD from the rest of his team. So he has to back away, opening up the opportunity for Knight to clear out these waves. And I think that's your biggest vulnerability. Like Orianna into the likes of an Akali. I mean, we saw for T1 and Gen G, right? Like, how good was Chovy at catching Faker out on the likes of this Orianna? If you allow this matchup to actually go head-to-head, BDD's going to smash Knight every single time.
Big thing as well going in is that as we get deeper into the game, KT right now obviously looking really good in items, but we did see against Weibo that they were not really able to find a very clean way to take full control of the game, right? They had one misplay on top side, and then that kind of slowed the game down. The one thing I'd be worried about for KT, if they are forced into a 5v5, is that Ruler, as we get deeper into the game, is going to become a bigger problem.
And that's why I think if you're looking at this, you need to try and get control over this midway.
Yeah.
The second you get pushed there, you can lean into top side, clear out the vision that's already been set up here and to back here, and then you're in a position where you can allow BDD to extend far. You can get control over the Baron. And at the moment, Keen is totally fine. I mean, he's incredibly slippery. You're not going to be able to catch him. So that's why I think you have to try and focus on controlling this 3v3 in the mid lane. And at the moment, they just haven't quite been able to keep Ruler from pushing out the waves.
Well, 369 losing out in this trade at the moment. The 0-3 Jax here from Keen, certainly feeling pretty scaled at this point in time. Extendo Beam not going to find Cuz here as JDG desperate to get themselves into this river to try and get some semblance of control. BDD lurking to the north, though. It's a bit scary here for JDG. They're just trying to gather themselves at this point in time.
And I do think that KT, like when they see, for example, someone on red buff with the ward, they need to try and pull the trigger. Keen did invest his ultimate, so should be waiting for that to come up as JDG are looking for an engager. And you see as well, JDG actually hold on pretty decently to the vision that they have, which means that KT can't use the fact that BDD and Keen both are hard winning inside.
Yeah, and I think the problem is as well as BDD is just hard pushing this wave a little bit too much. I think you need to sync up your waves so you can actually try and get that with mid and top and the same timer to invade on top side. We haven't got that. Now we've got a dragon, and now we've got an opportunity for JDG to maybe look for something, but Missing's tagged out.
Free items for aiming.
Keen also lurking here as 369 takes down the chickens. Still feeling like it's on a knife's edge. It's going to be second Drake for KT. Soul point opportunity, but of course JDG, not a lot of control of the river right now. I think giving it up is probably the right move. Live to fight another day. Or look to try and set up around this Baron, which could be an opportunity as well.
I think KT have played this incredibly well. It's like, hey, look, 369 isn't actually contesting bot wave. Right, let's just go and take Dragon. As long as we can keep the 4v4 or at least 3v3 in mid in our favor, they can't really push in to go for Baron. You can see it at the moment. Now that you know, okay, Dragon's gone, we can try and get some vision, but not having control over mid or top has made it impossible for JDG to contest Baron area.
BDD grabbing himself a stopwatch here, going to be very useful in the next team fight. Having a look at Knight, does have Ludens and Shadow Flame, a lot of damage availability. We were having a discussion about Orianna runes around the place yesterday. Did see some different options, but with the Shadow Flame, really like the Ludens choice here to make sure that these shockwaves pack as much punch as possible.
And Knight he's going to be looking for aiming, right? If he hits a shockwave, if they're able to actually lock down aiming, even with how strong Keen and BDD are, you got to imagine that at least one of 369, Knight or Ruler, will be able to survive the fight and go from there. Do note also the Knight's Vow on Cuz, which I assume has been put on aiming. Try and keep him alive throughout the initial burst that might come through from JDG.
Well, they're bearing down on this very, very injured turret. Can a turret get injured?
Never stood
Probably
a
not.
chance.
Damaged. I'd say damaged is probably the word that we could go for.
Oh, BDD.
Yeah, lurking, just trying to find these angles where he can. Control ward goes down. DDD, I think, knows that there are a few too many bad guys over that wall. He is going to go away. JDG gets some control of their topside jungle. Maybe just for a moment, though, as Cuz looking to clear it out immediately. Vision coming through here as Missing's always looking for these angles. BDD might be the target. You can really feel it. JDG just trying to find someone that's caught out of position. Try and get that one pick to try and find an angle. KT have already started off the Baron, though. It's down to 50% health. Missing has no idea. Kanavi's going to move forward. The teleport's going to come in. Can Cuz manage to lock this down? He just walks in. Oh, but this time Cuz gets the smite. The Magnet Storm comes through as well, but KT are just standing their ground. Kanavi ripped to shreds. BDD grabs one. And 369 JDG are just running for the hills. BDD's flashing forward. Knight, 5-point strike after 5-point strike, and the Shuriken is going to land. BDD grabs a double, and KT get the Baron and the kills.
KT are smurfing on JDG in this game, slowing down the pace, keeping control of the map, and picking up the Baron in the face of Kanavi. They may actually look to end it here.
I feel nothing. This is nothing happening as they push on forward.
Yeah, Basic for the gonna die. Ruler, the last man standing there, is 5 seconds left on Kanavi, but I don't know whether it's going to be enough. The teleports are coming in. KT gonna take down the first inhibitor of the game. And they're looking for Nexus turrets now. Kanavi thrown around like a ragdoll. Good double knockup, but the follow-up's not there from Missing, and Ruler is executed. That's going to be that. KT, off the back of an exemplary performance, will take game number 1 over JDG. We're only just getting started now, though.
And KT leads the series 1-0. The clear underdog coming in. It's just a single game, but
yeah.
it does mean that the series might not be going the way that some people expect. A KT, a team that thrives when the expectations are low, and coming in to today, they definitely are. Still should be. I want to stress that.
I will say, though, I mean, a win on red side, a win that came through off of being able to manage Kanavi with Cuz tracking him incredibly well, being able to find success in that top side and matching a lot of those plays, giving the kills across. Like, this is KT came to play, and JDG were caught off guard.
Yeah, I'm still a little bit gobsmacked. But ladies and gentlemen, throughout Worlds, we're teaming up with Amazon Web Services for a new campaign.